So let's just start at the beginning of where this becomes an argument. Her behavior, her narcissism behind being cruel, her rages, narcissism, how if something interrupts her thinking about something she loses her mind. I mean, everything. I was in school and kind of realized that as a little kid I should have been more afraid of her and led me to realize that she's not normal behavior. I don't think she knows she's crazy, which saves her a little, I think. If it's how she fucks with me a lot, like she's such a bully, it's insane. She picks fights, runs away, and then says she didn't pick a fight, says that, what are you talking about, crazy, delusional? It's fucking insane. I mean, what in hindsight, she's a bait, and the what? Oh, me, I'm just a white girl. And also realizing that she lived more middle class than me. Like, she'd spend money she'd spend on herself and call me lazy and great as a 10-year-old. She's talking about her mom. Like, a bunch of things I thought were more normal started ringing in my head, like, no, that doesn't add up. Okay. And anyway, so I go on. I mean, this is about her mom, but I ask her birthday, her mom's birthday. I don't know if she says. She says she gets kicked out. Kind of sounds familiar, though, huh? Uh-huh. She's the fifth. Wait. She kicked me out when I was pregnant and asked why I would have thought as a child this was my home. That's one real red flag. And then she said, it's not my home, it's hers. I don't think she loves me. It's always been conditional. I think she loves me as long as I make her look good. It's always been her condition. She's a greedy, lazy, only child who had two parents and pretty good upbringing. I think this sounds really aggressive at you, and I don't mean it at all. What? I'm like, wait, why is that aggressive at me? Hoo-ah, not your home? Well, I know that feeling. And then she's like, I don't know, I think it sounded that way. Like, I hate saying this, but she's such a trigger for me. I don't know how to feel rational or angry. So I get worried. I don't know. Ugh. So her mom's birthday is January the 5th. I don't know if that was ever a thing. But I was like, oh, weird. I thought it was the 9th. Anyway, we talk about other stuff. And then I confronted her about it because I just was like, I didn't know what she was talking about, so I thought maybe my humor. The other day you wrote an email about something relating to your mom, and I didn't get it. You were talking about bullying and pretending to be a nice woman, like, it's all good. I thought about our dynamic, how different the distance of writing makes things, actions, etc. I said, and maybe I should clarify, although to be honest, I don't think this conversation would even be brought up if it wasn't for a peanut gallery and 1,000 other ways that the general public is invasive, inappropriately analyzing every modicum of my action existence and waking thought out of context and under light they want to see it. Maybe I'm wrong, in which case it's beneficial, genuinely specific to you. I tell my jokes. I think I meant tailored my jokes and topic of conversation to the specific people I'm talking to. So there's a few topics that I bring up because I know I like to talk about them. I bring up and I go into just topics she likes to talk about. I'm like, of any topic I've ever mentioned, the one that you seem to have the most fun out of are jokes about race. So the little comments on me picking on you here and there, but it's like sisters, like siblings, and tailored to your amusement. If you had a problem with it, I wish you'd bring up some time during the past 12 years. I hadn't known you before, but I understand not everything is easy to talk about, specifically, especially with people you've known for a long time. I don't believe that I've ever made malicious commentary, nor have I come to ill will. However, it doesn't really matter where I'm coming from. If any of it makes you uncomfortable, then that is what it is, so let me know. I'd also like to say, see that guy? I'm not hiding behind my race. I've been pretty overt with understanding where this puts me, like any other form of privilege or oppression that I might be a 100% female, straight, American, whatever. I don't know. I don't deny its effects, nor do I do shit to cover or manipulate. So if there's more to talk about, just let me know. Also, I recognize that I'm almost always a kind person, but not always a nice person. So I'm not saying this in relation to you, but as a personal know about me, I overstep the line in what I say all the time. However, I'm not personally offended by how I'm mostly amused by and numb to the way that it ruffles feathers. However, I'm not numb to hurting people that I care or love. In fact, when it comes to general public, the line and challenges to me push beyond my own comfort zone, which is why I think appreciate stand-up comedy so much. It pushes you farther. It's an act of bravery, however a controversial one. This has the potential to offend others, maybe even hurt a few. Admittedly, if it gets to you, it's not my intention to cause pain. It then loses all point or value, but rather to bond. So let me know. And she's like, I'm not sure why what I said about my mom related to you, like literally the white girl part, before it or after. Why did you think it had to do with you? Is it just because I said white female? I'm confused with whom or what has been conflated. I'm like, because you said you weren't meaning to be aggressive with me. And I'm like, what are you saying? I'm doing what your mom is? Because you're talking about her, so I don't see how it related to me. And she's like, well, I believe I said I'm sorry if it seems aggressive at you, but I feel triggered by her and I don't know how to be rational about her. I can understand how people can talk about something, feel emotional, worry about their modes and manners of communicating with another person they're talking with. It's funny, I clarified that part hoping to not sound aggressive at you for you. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I didn't get how talking about someone else could possibly sound aggressive towards me unless it's somehow related to me, which is why I said I didn't get it. Didn't think it was about me and was confused. If you're venting about someone else and really about the other person, unless it's someone close to me, not much of a chance to offend. I appreciate the cautiousness about your mom. Is your prerogative. Friends are here to listen, though that's what we're for. And she's like, okay, nice to hear. I've talked about other people and had you taken it personally before. I really don't know what she's talking about here. So my assumption wasn't out of the vacuum, and your explanation of being confused also seemed like it was offended and trying to offer a culmination of why you're not to blame. So yeah, I'm not certain that what you're saying is what you mean, but I'll take it in faith that you mean it. Okay. I've taken it personally before. Wait, you just did it again. Okay, see, I think we're snagging on one another. I think the thing about your mom was about me, except for your side notes. I didn't think the thing about your mom was about me, except for your side notes, which is confusing to me. So I asked for clarity, which came off as a bit vague, like you didn't want to say it related to me, but it was. The only relation in the email I could possibly surmise might be applicable was that I was also a white woman and pick on you, albeit hers was not out of jest. However, I was pointing out that it's not done covertly, and was owning my responsibility, having used humor that seemed okay, and asking if that assumption was correct, which is not exactly not to blame, which is exactly what I thought you were trying to say the first time and now has been re-emphasized a second time, somewhat ironically, while denying having stated a connection between you and, I think it meant me and your mom, and chalking it up to I'm taken things personally before, which seems like you not wanting to own the statement or opinion in correlation to begin with. If there is a correlation, I'd like to discuss it, because once again, if my humor offends you, that's not okay for me to be using it. So I just want to make it clear that, are you not okay with me picking on you, or out of jest, as long as it's not malicious? Do you feel it's been malicious? How was I not in ownership or acting to blame in my response? Have I acted covertly in my jest? Do you feel I'm hiding behind race? Man, I hate snags. And she writes, I didn't do it again. Oh, God. I didn't do it again. The it from before was me assuming that through my language and tone, you would think that what I was saying pertains to you. This time, when you said I did it again, I clarified that I know you overstep. I like I'm talking about someone else, and take my words as a blanket statement. And no, I wasn't vague. I was clear as I could be against what you wrote, asked, assumed. No one mentioned your humor as a trigger or anything you do currently. I do know you to be a righteous bully with me who doesn't see when her assumptions are petty, insulting, wrong, unempathetic, and selfish. Wow, what? That's why we didn't talk for a few years, but I think it's all on your own right now. I tried to let you know I was only talking about what you were talking about twice. I was worried you'd be offended because of the Tara I knew and know. It seems weird that I've spoken to you about what we're talking about, and I still get accused of not wanting to claim an actual opinion, because I did. So maybe reread or don't. I'm like, no. I'm having trouble following you here. You aren't to blame because it doesn't pertain to you at all. Got it. Then you added that I've done this before, thinking something is about me when it isn't. You don't find your side notes confusing. Got it. But can you appreciate that it was the cause for my confusion? I'm asking you to refresh my memory on this because it seems like we are ignoring the current side note and focusing on some past behavior that I'm unaware of. You then go on to accuse me of acting blameless, like you had stated that your mother does in the same paragraph with a side note, which does draw a parallel that you say doesn't exist, which is which is confusing. Why would acting even be a factor because you're saying there is no blame. So then acting isn't a part of anything and is insulting if what you're implying is that I'm being dishonest to cover a thing in which I'm assigned no blame. I asked you how I wasn't taking accountability for all I could surmise a connection, humor, which you're now saying is not the problem. Good to know, but I am still unclear as to how I didn't take responsibility to you, my actions, or my emotions. You're saying that there is no connection and then proceed to throw a list of negative traits you feel about me, including bullying, and then you state about your mom in the side note, what you say about me, there's no parallel. So why is acting stated, or why would it have been there? Why would it be done when there is no need? If humor isn't the bullying you're mentioning, then I'm sorry, but I don't agree. Perhaps you could tell me what you're referencing. I feel that me trying to get clarity is me not trying to make assumptions and to be responsible for them, but you seem rather hostile in saying that I'm operating on some false ones. Assumptions are a difficult thing to spot as people tend to operate them unknowingly. Can you explain the assumptions you are referencing pertaining to this? I don't agree with why we didn't talk for a few years. I had actually been talking it over with some CODA people for a few months beforehand for reasons I can tell you that are completely topical, but not wanting to derail or blame shift, we can talk about it later. Righteous? Yes, I can be self-righteous, but I'm not sure what assumptions you're mentioning. The overstepping seems like you're referencing two things at once. I was referencing humor, you were referencing thinking something is about me when it isn't. I'm having a hard time understanding your perspective or why. It seems like you're really pissed off now, and I'm just trying to understand what's going on and not make assumptions, which is what you're asking me not to do. I might not be correct, but I feel that I'm getting set up to lose at all angles here. Getting the blame, then being accused of being vacuous connections, then asking for clarity, then being told I didn't. Oh, that's her. Being told I'm blameless, and then I'm acting blameless. It's not a good feeling. Plus, now I feel like you're mad. I'm like, wait, why is this even an argument to begin with? If your claim was true, then you're trying to be sensitive to my feelings, and I was to yours. But you seem heated now and less sensitive. So is there more going on than that? I'm like, I reread the thing you asked me to. I think this sounds really aggressive at you, and I don't mean it at all. The way that I now interpret this is that I feel that things you're saying about your mom relate to me, but don't draw this connection in this particular instance. Is this what you meant? To quote you, no, you're not having trouble following. You're playing your own game and trying to make it mine. Good luck with that. Okay. Yeah, no. I've told you how you fucked me over a few times, and there's only one time I have spoken out loud about you fucking me over, and I won't to you. They didn't relate to you. You've interpreted things said about others as pertaining to you, and I was worried. Think what you want. You always do, and figure out a way how to be the benevolent, mistreated one. Bye. Okay? No one was talking about your humor, ever. Just you and Rosita. At Denny's, in San Francisco, all that shit. You're a sanctimonious, self-righteous bully. Your might equals your right to destroy. Projection. And it doesn't. And I've said white girl in general, and you flipped out. Thought it would happen again. And am I wrong? Right. Being nice doesn't make someone a victim or victimizer. It means that you're mature enough to try to reach a common ground, that you care enough about the other to listen and put blame aside to get to the root of the issue. Not that listing insults isn't a thing of beauty without consequence. I've fucked you over once, but you spoke to me about it a few times, but you spoke about once. And yet it's a repetitive behavior that warrants disclaimers in a general MO. Once again, I don't follow, but oh wait, that's a game. Don't assume, Tara. Don't ask questions, Tara. Don't own your shit. Don't say you're confused. Don't ask for clarity. Yep. Like I said, I felt like I was in a no-win situation, like damned if I do, damned if I don't. And all I'm doing is trying to figure out what the fuck you're reacting hostily about. It just doesn't add up. I asked you for clarity questions, and you don't seem to want to answer them, and then blame me for not asking to begin with. Now you're making a dramatic exit, all because what? Because I don't understand where you're coming from, and because I'm trying to. Like, obviously this resonates with you. Or you wouldn't be reacting like this. I'm not the one playing games, my dear. You are. You just don't like me pointing it out.